Yo, what you do, son? I make these motherfuckers shake. I wake up every morning, start my day by getting baked. Yeah, I pull up.
Welcome to another Three Aficionados. That's the new Tsukasa track of the spring, summer. It's going to light it up. All right, we're going to talk about all things watches, cars, analog, that shit. You know, that stuff. All right, let's get into it. We're going to pop it off without Daniel because somebody has some reflux, but today it'll be Peter and I and Daniel in a mug.
This is 30.
30. Fuck off.
Cheers.
This is 40.
Yeah, right. I remember my doctor told me I got the worst acid reflux that he's ever seen in someone under 80. So here I am with a cup of water and a nice mug. Enjoy your drinks, boys.
We're out of that.
We'll enjoy it for you. Oh no, too much.
I was almost going to be in your split space too, Daniel, and then I remembered I had a case of Trulies I stole from someone a long time.
Trulies.
What's that like? I've never heard of that.
It's not great, but I mean it. You know what I mean? It's not it wouldn't be something I'd be going and buying for like a night out or something. But I mean, if you got to have one for a podcast, it gets the job done.
Appreciate you're a nice enough guy about it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be recommending it to you guys if that's what you wonder.
That's what I'm wondering.
No, it's definitely a hard no for that one.
Daniel, what's in the mug? What's in the mug?
I got a glass of water. I'm gonna keep it away from my laptop so I don't screw it up. You look like you got a nice gold leaf going on.
That's right. I got the Leffa.
Oh, going for that. Still going for it, eh?
Double fisting. Yep.
I thought we boycotted Leffa after the last episode.
I think that we just are a little pissy the fact that they haven't yet given us money for our one subscriber.
Hashtag boycott.
That's right.
Hashtag boycott Leffa.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
So what are we on to next? Cheers.
What's on the wrist? You know this. What is on the wrist, boys?
All right, we got to check that shit.
Petey.
Petey Pablo, what's he's rocking today?
Petey Pablo's rocking the Tudor today. The 30 bronze Tudor for anyone who's not watching. Yeah, I don't know. I've had this watch for a while now. It's a daily driver in some sense, and it's also like not a daily driver in some sense. It's like the watch when like you worry about it when it's on your wrist, but like you don't in a sense because you know its capability. Like if I'm wearing it, I'm not concerned. Like if I beat it off the door or something, like I know it's gonna be fine because
I'm beating off the door, Peter. Jesus Christ, man.
Anything with a handle, he's after.
No, it's a good. I love it.
After my love handle.
It was my sister's baby shower today, and I actually had the opportunity to give her the baby G, and I messed up because I didn't have I was not thinking, my brain wasn't working that way, and I didn't have my Gshocks on, so it wasn't as good as it could have been. But I had the photo that I sent you guys of me holding them together, so at least then I could show her that. So then she's like, because she's seen mine before, but she probably didn't put two and two together of how similar they actually look. That's awesome. Yeah, I showed her that, and then yeah, she thought it was awesome. It was probably, I think, one of her highlights of the baby shower. So she thought it was hilarious.
That's definitely my highlight.
Yeah, it was good. It was cool.
Amazing. Good job with that one.
Yeah, it was a cool little gift. They were talking about it one day, and then she just was like, mentioned how she wanted the baby to have a baby G, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like if anyone's getting the baby G, it's gonna be me. Like there's no question to it. So I told her right away, I'm like, no one's buying you a baby G. Like that's reserved for. I think she forgot.
I think that's the right decision, because I think that if a watch is a gift, it's in some ways almost best received from someone who is a watch person themselves. You know, It's always nice to be the recipient of a gift, right? Like no matter who gives you a gift, but as someone who is a recipient of some watches as gifts, those have also been from people who appreciate watches, and that adds some kind of like special meaning to me about it. You know, it's like they picked this for a reason because they know watches. There's probably more behind it, but I'm not going to get into it. So cheers to the baby Chi. Absolutely. Rock on. Perfect watch for a baby. They try and break everything. They're
That's
like,
right.
if they break that G-Shock, you're sending it to them. Be like, yo, a baby broke this.
Speaking of which, did your brother break your G-Shock?
Not yet. So far as I know, he's made it safely to base camp 1 of Everest. And he had also just gone through master's applications for physiotherapy and
Cool.
was waiting anxiously. So him and his partner, Joanna, went on a long trek yesterday up to a peak where they could get cell service and got the acceptance letters. So I think he's going to be going to U of T for their master's in physiotherapy and something else that I don't understand because I'm not in healthcare. So I won't butcher it. I'll leave it to you guys later to explain it properly once you know what he's actually doing.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, very cool. So I wait eagerly to see if he's smashed the G-Shock or if he's decided to keep it because, I mean, it's a G-Shock, so it's
Welcome
always
to the
nice to
three-
keep it, right?
Welcome to the Three Aficionados, where people fuck doors and also G-Shocks. Smash that.
I'll
Smash
put my
the
hand.
doors and smash the G-Shocks. That's what we say.
That's our handle now.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Smash
Look
Bros.
for a door, get it off.
If it's a watch, I'm a fuck it. If
Pop
it's
it
got
off.
a handle, I'm a fuck it.
Anything with a strap, I'm in.
Oh, well,
That sounds kinky.
any handle without any strap on, and Daniel's in.
I think that Steve's probably going to drop a bomb whenever he gets to show his watch because that's what he does every episode. So
No, I don't have a
I'm
bomb.
gonna jump to my watch next because I'm on that fucking tangent. I've got my Zadie's classic Victorinox, reference number unknown.
Unknown.
Well, it's written on the case back, but I don't remember it. So,
Reference
anyways,
number, don't give a shit.
reference number. It was my Zadie's watch. I don't care. So I love it. Wearing it. Went to go visit his grave today, so I decided to wear my watch from him because I thought that was the right decision. Had a nice meet with some family members, hung out, and haven't taken it off yet. So hope everyone's having a good day. It was nice to wear this watch out with the family, and I love it. So it's one of those things that I like more and more. It's like it's simple, but it's classically designed and not quite to the same degree as that Tudor bareback that the Mustache Man has, but it's a sturdy piece of kit. So
Did
I
you
love
say
it.
Tudor bareback?
Yeah, isn't that what that's called? The Tudor bareback?
Bronze.
Bareback,
Oh, Bronze Bay, not bareback.
bareback is what you do with those strap-ons.
Yeah, is that what you in titling that I ride lots of bareback there? Is that what you mean?
Man, if there's a strap on involved, it's always bareback.
Hey.
Don't you guys know that from the internet?
Yeah.
So Steve, what are you strapping on?
I'm strapping on something that I think you led up too much. It's the new Cermet, green and black. I know that he's trying to allude to something else that we'll get into later on in this discussion. Because I
No,
think he just popping too early. Gotta
I'm just
pop it
alluding
off
to your
like it's
incredible
slow.
collection.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Like-
well, it's about to
Oh,
get
I'm
more
gonna just
incredible.
disappoint everybody. I've got the brand new Rolex here. Sorry, I don't have something cool today.
Yeah, well, fuck
What a
this
piece of
Cermet.
crap.
No, I'm going to a beach very near by, not very nearby, but in near time, in not so many words that I can put together out of my mouth. I will soon be on a beach with this Cermet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
barely can string words together at this point. Yikes.
Yeah.
What's healthcare
Yeah.
done to you?
It's devastated me in so many ways.
Getting my PhD made me brain dead.
Yeah, way more. Well, I don't have a PhD. I have other things, but yeah. But listen to this. Oh, nice and crunchy. Nice and crunchy, green bezel, ceramic with the black dial. I was just wearing the Hulk recently, and I gotta say the case fitting of this is just so much, more compliant to the wrist. It like sits much better on my weak, effeminate wrist. So I find that for comfort, it's much better. For looks, Hulk wins. So yeah, I feel like both have an interesting place in my collection. This one is the one that I want to take to the beach because the Hulk guy will cry about if I ever lose it. So, but I'm not even going to take it really to the beach. I mean, I'll take it to the beach, but
Don't
to go
pop it off
surfing,
there.
no, to go surfing, it will be the SKX 007.
Absolutely.
So that's going with me. And I'm trying to decide, do I go bracelet or do I go NATO strap? I'm thinking bracelet. I can't trust that NATO strap.
Well, that
Just say
bracelet.
NATO, just
That's
to fuck
fair.
with.
Well, I
Yeah.
thought you were gonna have NATO like as in one you could trust. So that's why I was like, go for
Mhm.
that because don't risk it if you have a better, safer option. But since
If I
you
had
said
planned
after,
it,
immediately bracelet.
I think
I
if I had planned it better and I had a really good NATO that I thought was tough as hell, then yeah. But this one is like, it doesn't even fit the right way.
Yeah.
I know the bracelet works. I wore it previously last time I went surfing. So I think I should just stick with what I know works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I almost
It's
like worry
designed to
that,
work with that bracelet.
yeah, but I almost worry about like losing it because like my grandfather wore it for a time. So should I take the G-Shock? That's the next question.
That'd be
Should it be
sad.
a three-way approach?
Yeah.
G-Shock, the Casio,
Yeah.
great, plus the SKX for a beach, and then the Cermet on occasions where I'm not going to harm anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
I
bit
I
of
think
a-
that's a good decision.
Mhm.
I think a trio is great. And since you mentioned you're going on trip, is your wife going with you or are you going solo?
I am bringing my wife. Yes.
So what's she
I will
gonna
be
take on
wearing
her
her
wrist?
on all occasions.
Well, I didn't know if it was like a work trip that you were then turning like a visit around, turning
Yeah.
it into a nice holiday. So I didn't want to make an assumption there. I'm just asking,
Yeah.
you don't have to
For
be a dick
her,
about it.
she's too of course I have to be a bit of a dick about it. For her, she's bringing her Moonwatch to the safety deposit box because she
Yeah.
worries too much about it, and
Fair enough.
you don't want to push those pushers anywhere
Yeah.
near water. And I feel like I would be antsy about it. I would be really worried about her coming anywhere near it. I have
Right.
taken it to the beach, but even still, like nowadays, what's the point?
So
Worst
does
case,
she have an alternative?
no, she doesn't care.
How many watches do you have?
A few.
She's got one. What the hell is this?
I've offered her plenty, but nothing really holds, really holds up to that, right? She just doesn't have an interest in having multiples. But maybe we'll see if we can maybe grow that collection a little bit.
I have an idea for you, but it comes after what you talk about later.
Mm.
I have an idea. I have an idea for a matching set of some sort.
Okay.
So
Very
let's
sick.
huh?
Oh, I said that. Sick.
If you guys are gonna come at me, I'm gonna bring it hard.
All right.
Bareback Miggy over there. Sorry,
Let's get
Bronze.
into what-
Sorry, Bronze Bay. I apologize.
Bareback,
Good
bronze,
bareback.
bay.
I like that. That was good.
Now called the Tudor Bareback from now
I think
on.
we got to run with it now.
Tudor
The Tudor-
bareback gives you some sort of weird green deposits on your skin,
You know,
requires some treatments afterwards.
say once you go bareback, you can't go back. So that's how it is. So can we move on before I embarrass myself further?
That you can.
Let's take over, Director Steve.
Let's do watch news. We're gonna get into
Bring
some
it.
watch news. We're gonna talk about Daniel's favorite thing. That is, I cannot share my screen. So you go ahead and take things. I got a brand new laptop, and apparently that's not in preferences. Way to go, fuck up, Steve.
Take a minute to sort that shit out on your end of things. And we can keep talking as you're doing that. Then we can move on. And if you take too long, that's fine. Maybe people will realize that in your absence, they just like two aficionados better.
Yes, well, why not?
Yeah. So like, let's circle back for a second while Steve is figuring that stuff out. When
Sure.
you were looking for a watch for the little kid,
Yep.
were there other things you were considering other than a G-Shock, or was it like, I'm getting a baby of G-Shock, period? That's the one, I'm done. No shopping needed.
Yeah, it was basically that. Like someone mentioned it to me, and as soon as I heard that, the biggest thing to me was, I really wanted a clear one, like my G-Shock kind of thing. So funny enough, it's actually called the jellyfish, like on the it's like the baby G jellyfish kind of thing or whatever, which is sick. So they
That's
actually
sweet.
yeah, like the reference number actually says that on the
That's-
tag ever. So yeah, it was kind of cool. It's like almost like a exact replica of the smaller one kind of thing. So that was kind of my
Remind us what the nickname is for your watch.
yeah, it is. It's a jellyfish. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
perfect.
So it's like baby jellyfish is what it is kind of thing. So
not only do you have a G-Shock and a baby G-Shock, you also have a jellyfish and a baby jellyfish.
exactly.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that holds like a whole other level to sick to it.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of cool too. That's what I thought, and it's I don't know, it just worked out that way that it worked out so well. I really honestly didn't have to do any searching around. It just worked out. First thing I looked at and I saw that and I was like, okay, do I need to look anymore? Like I already know what I need. And I mean, it was actually on sale too, so that was kind of more of a even bigger for that day. It was like Bay Days or something, right? So I ordered
That's
it.
perfect. Well, I'll edit that part out so the kid doesn't ever learn that.
That's okay.
So so you
Let's
finally
jump
got your
into the
stuff
news.
together,
I finally
Steve.
fixed it. Yeah, here's the Grand Seiko SBGW279 with the blue dial, the Oruri. So this one is, I think, a US only model that basically, I believe, builds on the SBGW231. But you've got, instead of that cream dial, you've got a blue dial. To me, it's a bit of a metallic kind of reflection, so it does shift, and it does remind me of my SBGM. I can't remember the exact number. That was like the blue dial Hodinkee version of
That's
their
what
GMT, but this one's the hand wound, much more simple version of the SBGW. I think that the SBGW 231 still is the classic, but this one I think would be a perfect Peter version because he loves blue watches, but not quite the right shade of blue. Maybe it's more the SBGW 283. That's this kind of baby blue hue. And what do you guys think? I personally don't think that I'll be trying to get one while I'm away in the States, but I'd probably go for the 231 over it. But it's kind of an interesting new novelty to the classic design. Thoughts,
I
Peter?
think it's beautiful. I don't think it's for me, but I think it's a nice watch to add to their lineup.
Yeah,
I agree in the sense, like I honestly don't personally know if it would be something you'd maybe have to see in person. There's just a few design cues that almost kind of throw me off a little bit, but I do really like the blue dial. It looks good, and I think, like you were saying too, Steve, it actually looks really similar to that. I don't know the reference number, but it was the Grand Seiko Hodinkee GMT that they released, and it fairly similar dial to that. This almost looks maybe just a bit more of metallic-y kind of thing, but yeah, it's cool. I don't, like you're saying, I don't know if I'd be jumping out to go grab it, but yeah, it's pretty and it has a lot of cool features to it. I don't, something to me though, just like maybe it would look better on a bracelet. Something to me, just the leather strap almost kind of throws me off a little bit. Maybe it's the color of the leather. I don't necessarily know, but
and
yeah,
that's what they did with the GMT version, the Hodinkee version of the GMT. They had put it on a metal bracelet rather than on the strap.
looked
The
way better.
bracelet was criticized because it did kind of look like, your typical kind of oyster-ish kind of lugs there, or not lugs, but bits, whatever the fuck a bracelet is made of. Links.
There we go.
Yes, but I personally think that this is interesting, but not as timeless as the cream dial that you get with the SBGW 231. And I feel like I already made one mistake before going for the Hodinkee GMT. I'd go back for the cream. I'm always going cream, boys, every time.
I prefer the cream dial in this iteration. I agree and disagree with you guys about the strap or bracelet, where I think that a brown strap, probably just a regular leather or suede strap of some sort, that's a slightly lighter tone, would suit this perfectly. I don't like this type of strap because I'm not into gator or other things like that. It's just not my deal. If you're into it, that's fine. You found the perfect watch for you. But for me, I'm just not into it. I had a different watch that had a similar layout with color scheme and all of that, and I had it on a very more like a tan color, but a darker tan. And it was beautiful. I gave that to a friend of mine a few years back as a gift, and I can see the appeal to this. I think the strap is what is maybe throwing us off. I think it's a little bit boring at the moment, but I think it's a design that will age very well. So if you were to buy this today, perhaps it's a bit subtle or understated, but as time passes, I think it's a design that will age very well. And it looks like a classic piece from a foregone era. Yeah. And I'll just say that I quickly looked up what the meaning is of its name. And if I got it right, I'll double check because I think I got it wrong.
It was definitely about strap-ons, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, no.
Go on pause. Daniel's Googling shit.
Yeah, you guys talk about stuff. I was totally off, and now I'm glad I double checked.
But this is the 231, and to me, this looks so much more timeless. You're saying that one's classic. This is the classic, and when you see it in person,
it is for sure.
Oh
yeah.
And I'll just drop a little bit of a glimmer of trailbred towards what we'll get to at the end with the final reveal, which is, I feel like it's going to be so anticlimactic by the time we get to it. This was a very close competitor. There is something else that needs to be decided against it, not something that I went for. This will be something in the future for me. I think this is still the #1 Grand Seiko for me. I think I'd go for SBGW 231 if I had to go Grand Seiko, but it's not yet. And there's another watch that will be coming. So let's get into something that I think is for Daniel. And that, I think, anything that is Army and anything that is Old Manny, then I think it's Daniel. That's just to sum things up and criticize him a little bit. I was
Before
told,
I give you my opinion, I have to ask you, did you just buy this for me as a gift and it's on its way and you're talking it up?
I wish.
I don't want to say anything if that's the case.
Oh, this is a piece of shit. Oh, it's actually at your door.
It'll be there tomorrow. Fuck.
This is the Doxa Army. And I think that it was actually previously an old Army design. It's on the ceramic. I personally think it's kind of interesting, but I would prefer the one that we always talk about, in the carbon with the blue kind of Tiffany dial. I think we talked about all the different color iterations, but this is another one to add to it. I think that, the cream that it has, I'm always going cream, but here's my issue. It's mainly the strap. It's got the camo strap, and it kind of looks like somebody, maybe hemorrhaged, maybe Peter helped his patient out. Maybe somebody had their period on it. I don't know.
Strap is really, like that's really ugly.
It is.
Like all the straps they're showing are ugly.
Mm-hmm.
And it throws it off.
Yeah, it does.
The other thing is I don't like the turtle kind of case. I'm not a big fan of that.
That's true. It does look a little turtly.
So I don't like that. I also feel like the dial looks like it's a bit, I don't know, I want to say claustrophobic in a weird way, where it looks like it's closing in on itself. And
of the
I think it's so close to being cool, but it's just not for me.
Yeah, I think it was a close, but not quite a win. And I think I'd still go with other carbons. Definitely the Tiffany for, I think, Peter and I think Daniel's going to be like a darker blue person.
Well, I wish they showed the cream dial with that gray NATO, or with maybe a leather strap that's the color of the bag that it's laying on. Something else to accentuate the watch itself. The bracelet takes away your attention immediately. It's the first thing I noticed was the bracelet, and I was like, oh, fuck this, I'm out.
Yeah, you know, like
That'd take a
when
minute.
like the
Yeah.
desert kind of camo, just like even it didn't even need to be camo, it could just be like those desert kind of
Even like a color like
As long
this,
as it was better.
even
like-
this color would look
yeah,
great.
that would be great.
Yeah, it'd be great. They messed
like-
up with this picture. Whoever took
Even
that photo
with
needs
the
to
color that the dial was, it would look so much better. Like if they had a strap matching the dial.
All
It's
right,
time for
well,
this marketing person to reevaluate all of their ideas and concepts, because this is some terrible. Like the photos are fine, but like, what the hell is this concept?
It doesn't even look like,
can
yeah,
address
just
the concerns to Cole Pennington at Hodinkee.
Like, you want me to believe someone's going to wear this with a tuxedo?
no.
Get the hell out of here. Zoom down. You want me to believe that's reality?
Yeah,
No,
maybe not.
no one's doing that.
Mhm.
And then that NATO is hideous.
Yeah.
So
All right,
thank you
well-
guys for being on the same page.
Well, fuck you. I'm taking my gift back. It's not coming anymore. It was
Don't
coming.
worry, I'll pay for the return shipment. You can
I feel
have
like
it.
this one is a stronger possibility. I had a feeling you'd shit on it some way. So here's a stronger possibility. This is the Oris Pro Pilot Caliber 400. So it comes in a variety of different colors. I think it's an interesting thought, but all the colors don't quite hit it. I feel like it's basically a Oyster Perpetual that's been turned down and muted a little bit. Kind of similar, and reminds me of the Omega different colored ones that we were talking about before. Very muted colors or pastel-y kind of looking, this especially with this peachy one. But I feel like Daniel might be the one who could potentially go for it. The other aspect is its design kind of reminds me a little bit of the Bulova Octo Finissimo, because it has this angular bit of the bracelet, and I think that that's the strongest part, not so much the colors of the dials. And I feel like a lot of people would probably gravitate towards maybe the blue or the gray, but if you're a little bit more flamboyant like Daniel, maybe you want to go peach. I don't know. Daniel, go ahead and shit on it or love it. I have no read on you anymore.
No, I think you have a decent read on me. I just think that certain things on the peripherals are off, right? Where it's like, we both have a lot that we agree on. But then there's certain things on the perimeter where we just feel like, maybe, I don't know if he would like it, but I think he would. And then it's like,
I
no,
always
get the hell
agree
out of here. I
on
hate that shit.
strap-on.
Yeah, you boys
But,
like it.
I'm always thinking about strap-ons and barebacks. I mean, Tudors and black bays or bronze bays, but I like that Oris has made this watch, and I think it's interesting that they've gone for a design that's sort of gender neutral. I think they're opening up their market and going after, this is funny because these are photos of men wearing this watch, but women have for a long time now worn men's watches. Your wife wears an Omega Speedmaster moon watch.
But that's because she's a boss.
Right? But it looks great on her. And I like when women wear nice watches rather than just buying a woman's watch, right? Sometimes a woman's watch is the right watch for you. Other times, maybe a men's watch is the right one for you. I think what Oris is doing is coming up with more of a gender neutral design that fits that gap for men and women who are looking for a watch that maybe isn't quite masculine or isn't quite feminine. And this watch straddles an interesting design. And I don't think it's the Oris for me because I have my eye on other pieces still. And I like that they've continued with their design philosophy of creating a good watch, or their brand philosophy. They created a good watch that's a decent price. It's suited into the market for people like me, or sorry, slotted into the market for people like me, or maybe like some of our followers who have asked me about watches for women specifically. And I've talked to them about different watches, whether it's on Instagram or through other chat messaging options. And we've had some good conversations. What I like about Oris a lot is their approach to a case back design philosophy on many of their watches. So this watch is rather subdued, and it could be dressed up or dressed down, worn by a man or a woman or anybody. And then you remove it and you look at the case back and you see the viewing case back, and you get to see a very cool movement, So it's in a way a sleeper watch. You know, you take it off, you look at it, and you have this beautiful movement on display. You put it on, it can go with pretty much any outfit worn by anybody. So why not? I mean, I like it, but I just don't like it enough for it to steal my attention away from other watches in their lineup.
Oris, the choice of barebackers. But here's the one that I really
Oh,
want
that's
to
Tudor, obviously.
Yeah. Well, I think that this is another Peter one. I really want to see whether Peter is going for this. This is the IWC Special Edition Pilot Chrono that they issued at the Miami Grand Prix for Formula One to commemorate IWC's support of Mercedes-AMG Petronas Formula One F1 team, and obviously the colors that we see on Lewis Hamilton all the time. And everybody was sporting them all over throughout Miami. I thought it was interesting seeing that splash of the Petronas kind of Tiffany bluish color there, but at the same time, I don't know if it does it for me. It's an interesting design, but I feel like if anybody's going to go for it, it's Peter. Peter, do you love it or you hate it?
I don't know. Like, it's kind of, it caught me off guard a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, but like, I don't know if this tops it for IWC for me. There's a few like the bronze, like big crown pilot. I may be saying it wrong, but if I am saying it wrong,
Big
then
pilot?
sorry. But yeah, maybe just the big pilot. But the bronze big pilot looks so good. Like
You're
there's
a
a
big
few
pilot boy.
watches. Yeah, there we go. Exactly. A big
Club
pilot.
all day with your Tudor.
It's so big though, that's the issue. But I don't know, like for me, if this tops it, to be honest. That watch is just so beautiful and has kind of like a story behind it. That like for IWC, if there was ever a watch that I was ever gonna like go with, that's one that's always kind of been in the back of my mind. Like I think it's just cool. Like it's got a a story behind it, and it's like it's just like original, and it's kind of what you think. So
I feel like this reminds me exactly of a Moonswatch. Interesting to look at a first glance, and then you look deeper and you're like, that looks a little cheap. It looks a little bit synthetic-y, not so timeless. You put it on your wrist and you go, that strap doesn't really feel right. That color doesn't feel quite so right.
Scroll up. Now zoom in. Scroll down. There's a photo of the 3 bracelets aligned with each other. Right there. Let's see some bracelet options. So I'll take it in the middle option and I'm good.
Yeah, it looks a lot better on the middle option. It really does.
I think that it's amazing what they've done. And I think it's the perfect time for this watch. Again, I think I mean, for Peter, he's a giant. He's part Sasquatch. He's like 7 feet tall. This watch is not too big for you. But for Steve and I, with our delicate piano playing wrists, it's a little bit too big for me to wear. But
this one isn't,
I like it a lot.
It's cool.
This is the first color that is similar to a Tiffany color that I actually like what they've done with. Every other watch has basically just slapped a Tiffany color on the watch that they already made and done. Like that's one of the things I really dislike about the Patek and the Rolex Tiffany's that they dropped, is all they did was make it a Tiffany color dial. I'm like, cool, a big freaking blob of Tiffany blue. It's not that interesting to me. All you did was hijack another brand's color and you're on. This one, they incorporated that color into the dial in an interesting way where it's not too much, and that's not actually the focus of the watch. It's just an aspect of the design. So on a black strap, you get some nice flares of color. You get a timeless IWC watch. And for the right person, I think it's stunning. If I was larger, I would be very interested in this for myself.
I think this is almost
just not that big.
Only 41. It's smaller than my.
This isn't the big pilot.
Oh, so, I thought it was 44 for some reason.
That's the big pilot you're thinking about. This is
well, this is not too big for me. I'm interested.
41 is doable for sure.
Definitely interested now. It's too small for you, Peter. Sorry, you're out.
Well, that's not something I expected. I mean, I think they should have really promoted it more on this black calfskin strap.
Yeah,
I know they really want to push this image of the AMG Petronas F1, but like, come on, this is much better.
It looks way
better. Change that strap though.
But
I put on a plain black leather strap like other IWCs, or throw it on a NATO, even a black NATO. I don't like the color on the bracelet and the stitching. I don't want any flare of color on that bracelet. I want all of the color to just be more subtle on the dial. The bracelets that are, you know, Mercedes color, it's just too much and it overtakes the watch. That's what you notice. And I don't want to wear a watch for you to notice the bracelet. Point of the bracelet is just to keep the watch on. After that, if it looks good, that's better. Don't like make the bracelet the focal point.
Let's jump into motorsport. Let's talk about the car that we've already previously discussed. This is a little bit of a spy shot of a design that I think we all would say is very controversial. This is the M4 CSL BMW that we were all kind of waiting for, and I had previously requested that I be considered for an allocation for. But this, we had been really discussing whether the front end grille would change. And clearly this is going to be a disappointment. This is going to be the big grille that we see in the CS. But I still am willing to wait until we see it. I still probably wouldn't withdraw my interest. But that blurred image that we're seeing here, it looks so snouty. It's pretty gross to me. I know it has some other interesting angles, but goddamn, that thing needs
so big
right across it. Daniel,
what's going on with the bottom corner of the front splitter where it meets the bumper below the headlight? Is there a gap there in the way the splitter folds in underneath the front bumper area? I'd be interested to see it more. I'll be interested to see it when they release all the proper images. But it looks better, but it's like the front end is still disgusting. And if this car comes out and is one of the greatest M cars of all time for driving, then I would just get over it, because it looks cool from a lot of other angles, and it's just the front end that's shit. You're supposed to drive the car, not sit at the front of it and stare at the grill. And at the end of the day, for me, I drive a car for me, not as a favor for everybody else. So if I'm driving around and I love the way it drives and you just don't like the front kidneys, like, I just don't give a shit.
There's also some interesting striping here. I think that there might be some venting or bulge. I don't know. Interesting. We'll see. That's just some random spy shot for us to shit on the grill again. But
well, Peter, tell us a little more about what you think before we jump to the next thing, because I'd be interested.
It depends. Like you guys are saying, I think it's a solid point. Like looks are only so much up to a point. Like, yeah, you want the car to look good, but if it is to what it's gonna be like performance wise, I feel like it could be looked past. But I don't. It is that's a lot. Like, that is a lot, and that's one of the biggest things that I've disliked about the recent BMW and like M cars is just the fact how big they're going with their grill. It just looks very interesting. But I mean, again, it's the biggest thing. Like you're saying, like there's certain things that like once you get in a vehicle, like you actually drive it, that you can look past. Like I don't think in any case, maybe like I guess certain cars you can fall in love with every feature, but I feel like most cars, like something you don't like about it, but you look past it because you're getting it, right? So that's just kind of my process of it. If it's just a grill, it's just a grill. If it's like a monster,
this is a big thing. This is a big thing to get past. I mean, especially when it's like a car in this league. I mean, it's cool. I'm not gonna completely rule about it. I'm sure it's gonna be a really interesting car, especially if they go lightweight. Although these are pretty heavy cars, and this is likely going to be running the automatic transmission. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm on the fence. I'm optimistically careful, but I will still put my interest in this, and we'll see. Especially nowadays when you can't get anything. So
for those listening, Steve basically always makes the right decision in the end when it comes to cars and watches.
Except for while we're talking,
well, let me just finish that point. Is that we have lots of in-depth conversation about these purchases off of camera. There's a lot of thought that goes into the things that Steve purchases. So while we talk about these cars and all of these things in a hypothetical way, it is important for anyone listening to recognize that Steve puts in an incredible amount of time and effort to find the right cars to buy. and will overlook certain things sometimes under certain conditions. So while we're talking about these things and speculating, it's important to know that what we're talking about is not always exactly what's going to happen for us.
For sure.
So we'll update people, but for anyone listening, Steve is the right person to listen to for advice. Steve makes the right watch purchases and the right car purchases. And ever since we've known each other, maybe there was one mistake out of dozens. So that's an impeccable record. And it's worth continuing listening to him talk just to learn more. I learned a ton of stuff every time we talk.
I definitely need you in seeing all of my new patients so you can compel everyone to listen to me. You just
I have a lot of respect for you. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. It's just how it is.
Appreciate it. But this is one that's like a no-brainer, 911 ST. This is one that looks good, looks classic. I feel like it's pretty much what we were already talking about last week when we were chatting about the Sport Classic. If the Sport Classic was designed by GT department, here we've got basically what's rumored to be a GT3 RS touring version. You'll note from here, this is the front, front quarter panel. There's a vent right here for a little bit extra ventilation, I guess. You've still got the touring style spoiler. You've got, a lot less of the vents and, obviously no wing in this, but the idea is going to be that this is going to be a stripped out, more touring version, more low key version of the RS. So if you basically take a more classic looking 911 and you introduce it to the GT department, that's exactly what we were hoping to see from the Sport Classic. I think this is pretty much the Sport Classic. I just wish that front bumper could be remedied with the Sport Classic bumper, but I think that it gets pulled away now that you see that there's the indent in the front bonnet as well as the roof line where you get that kind of bubble that you saw the treatment previously applied to a 911R. So this is basically the updated 992 version of the 991.1 911R. And to me, this is going to be a winner. It's probably going to be in like super low production. I'm probably going to have to kill somebody for it, and I'm begging for it. And I've already tried to offer selling cars to the Porsche dealership just to get them in my good favor of potentially selling it to me, because goddamn, does this look good? This is the rear end. You see that on the rear kind of vents, there's this spot where you can have this little decal, and they're expecting that it's going to say Porsche Heritage. This will be like one of the 4 primary Porsche Heritage, and I assume that this will be sporting the GT3 RS naturally aspirated engine. I don't think that it'll likely be only the touring engine. It'll probably be what we see coming out of the RS. I'm going to shut up and let you go ahead and shit on it, Daniel.
Oh, I love it.
Definitely not going to shit on it. I know you won't.
No, I want I love Porsche, and I want like 80% of their entire lineup. Like there's a ton of their cars that I would love. And years ago, I had a client who had well over 20 cars. And he would keep some of those cars on his island, which is a hilarious concept. But what he loved was Porsche, and he drove a Mini Cooper JCW 2006 that he had modified as his daily driver, and he said that was his favorite car that he owned out of all of his cars. And he also owned 16 Porsches, so he had one of every single Porsche turbo ever made. Then he had a GT3, GT3 RS, GT2, and a GT2 RS. And like those were his other daily drivers that he would just drive around. He'd let me drive his GT2 once, and it was incredible. I mean, it was a pretty scary experience because, it was a client's car, and he was not with me in his car. He was in his Mini Cooper, and he's like, I like my Mini better, so would you drive my GT2 for me? Like, crazy. Yeah, no problem, bro.
This is one that I would
I'm like that. It's like, oh, I have a Porsche turbo, but the other turbos are sick. I would love another one. If you have the money and you have the space, screw it. I will have 80 to 90% of every Porsche ever made, and then move on to the other brands and start collecting. But like, I love this.
Yeah.
I love how it looks like a deployable spoiler on this rather than a fixed one.
Yeah.
We see
So
different photos of it, and I think
the
that's
same with
brilliant.
the 911 Tours, the GT3 Touring
Yeah.
spoiler, but you've got this vent here, and you've got different downforce here on the from the under tray.
Yeah.
So, and a bit of a different grill on this vent over the engine cover. So I think it looks awesome. I'd definitely sell the GT2 RS and the 964 for it. It's goddamn good looking, except for maybe just this portion where the plastic kind of fish mouth is, but
yeah,
I could overlook that easily. I think it looks awesome.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if I would trade your GT2 RS for this car, but I would want to live with the GT2 RS for a little while and see and really get to know well before deciding whether or not it's something that I would trade.
Here's the
If I had
critical thing.
ability, I would just keep it and add this to the collection, obviously. And I think this is beautiful, classic Porsche design, where it's semi-subtle, right? Like it's not like a Huracan STO, right? Like Porsche doesn't really do that. They make classic looking vehicles that look good now and will look good in 100 years. And they found the right design and they've stuck with it, and they've just continued to basically make these incremental changes to improve its performance. And they keep the design language very similar. It makes it easy to like a lot of their cars. If you like one Porsche, there's a chance you're going to like basically every Porsche they make. Like they're all interesting, but they're all subtle when you compare them to their rivals. And then they outperform most of their rivals. So you get this cool car. You can drive around in this car. You don't have to, you can take it out for dinner and not worry about it because it just looks like a Porsche, and there's a lot of Porsches out there. But when you drive a Ferrari and you take it out for dinner, like you're even scared to leave it for the valet to drive it and park it, right? So to me, this is like a no-brainer.
I would never throw the keys to the valet for any.
Exactly. That's my point. But with a Porsche like this, maybe you would, because like, you know, it's not like one of these.
If this is maybe what perhaps could be coming down the pipeline for me, we'll see. We talked about the 296 GTS that I've got on order, and my hope is to eventually get a versione speciale. There's an SF90 VS. Not that the SF90 really needed a VS on top of that, but that's going to be crazy. Yeah. I feel like that's just a little bit out of my league for sure.
No.
But this is another Porsche that I think would be really cool. Yep. I think it completely gets eclipsed by the ST, and I wouldn't even think about it. But in the context of a GT4 RS, if they made a Spider RS, I'd definitely be all over the Spider RS more than the GT4 RS. That being said, I don't know how great this looks. I think we need to see the final. It's kind of like the Speedster, that there's maybe, you know, when it was in development, the Speedster looked a little bit iffy. It's still, even from certain angles, I would say looks a little iffy, especially when the tonneau is up. But I don't know. I think
it looks like a lot like a Carrera GT, but different. And I think the tonneau cover is really what does it.
Yeah.
You know, the rear haunch, you know, like the back, from the front wheels all the way back to the back, it has that Carrera GT design. If they had designed it to have those vents right behind the front wheels, so then it would like line back and connect with the rear vent or inlet, that would make the center tub look like a Carrera GT tub, right? Then the rear end looks like it. Look at it from this angle. It looks like the back end of a Carrera GT, but made today rather than then. So I think the design language is really cool. I don't like the headlights because they kind of make me think of a praying mantis. But everything else about it, I really like. I love convertibles, as you guys know. And my preference is to have a convertible as a daily driver, so I can just drive top down at any possible moment, because it's just so nice to be out in the air.
Top down barebacking. But here's the thing that's like the
Totally.
clincher. The fact that they've got the air intakes that are in the GT4 RS that are right behind your ear. They're
Yeah.
going to be in the convertible right here
Yeah.
behind you. And can you imagine the oral pleasure that you
Oh
will get
yeah.
from this? Much better than barebacking, I would say. Maybe not.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Depends on
Way
who.
better.
Yeah, for sure. I think
Everyone knows that the oral pleasure reigns supreme.
Reigns supreme. Supreme oral pleasure. But I think that we've all got to hear a little bit from the anticlimactic delivery of what I'm about to show you, if I can get it the fuck up. Here we go. I
Why are you talking like that?
Because I have to do two things at the same time because I need to get the video up. So here we go. This is the final reveal of the watch that is on order that we've been alluding to. So it was not the Grand Seiko. I decided when I called up Jim Morrow, I was like, so do you think that you might have Cartier Santos de Cartier on steel, medium, no date, clean, perfect, iconic, and classic?
Yep.
Large. I was waffling back and forth, but I can't get over the date. Whenever there's date or no date, always go no date, especially when it's classic looking. And this is closest to, you know, the original. And that's my cat, apparently. Sharing cat photos. So yeah.
It looks like she'd probably have a Speedmaster on her wrist if the cat wasn't in the way, destroying the photo of the watch.
So we went with the Santos de Cartier, and when I get back, I'm picking it up. That's on.
Oh man,
it's already put aside for me. They did have a shipment, and yeah, I've decided that's the next one up. I feel like you know, it does give something back to my dealer, and I'm buying something other than Rolex. I think it's something that will round things out, give me something more formal. We were talking a little bit about Tank versus Santos de Cartier. I'd always go steel in this scenario. I think we already talked about how I wouldn't go with a real precious metal, especially an all gold in Cartier. I'd probably reserve that for other bigger boy brands. But I think that this is such an iconic brand, and this is already such an iconic design. It is the first pilot's sports watch. I don't have a pilot watch, and I only have one other formal watch, but I feel like that one isn't forever, and this one would be forever.
Yeah.
So, you know,
I think it's an heirloom kind of piece. Like once you own it, it just gets passed down or passed on.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those things where it's like, maybe you have kids, maybe you don't. Maybe there's like an adopted kind of niece or nephew that becomes very close with you as you get older, right? And you want to give them a gift that means something to you. Like once you own that, it doesn't feel to, unless you decide you don't like it. Like if you get it and you're like, actually in reality, it's not really for me, you know, fine, go ahead and sell it, right? But
yeah,
I think the reality is you will love it. I think it suits you and your wife very well. I think it suits you better than your wife. And I think that what I was alluding to earlier is that I think that the Cartier Tank would be the perfect watch for your wife to add to her collection, because I think it would suit her quite well when she goes out for her dinners. You know, it's a nice piece for her to have that isn't the Speedmaster, and it's a little bit more feminine than this watch, which I feel like is a little bit more masculine. But the Tank is a watch I would wear and I would love it. I had been flip-flopping my entire life between these two watches as my Cartier favorites. And when I was younger, it was the Tank. And as I age, this feels more like me than the Tank.
I would say that in the past, before 2018, the last designs where you didn't have the integration of the bracelet, where this bezel, or you know, the kind of the outer ring bezel here would just kind of cut off and it wouldn't integrate. I wasn't so much a fan when it was just a rectangle, but now this integrates fully into the bracelet. And it's such a beautiful design that you can so easily interchange bracelet, strap, bracelet, and the innovation behind it and the ease of use. It just has a sportier vibe. It has that AP, Aquanaut, Nautilus vibe, and Royal Oak vibe. To me, this was a good sport formal watch and something that would be interchangeable that I could easily put back and forth, strap, bracelet, and also give to my wife, and it would look probably better on her than me.
No.
And also, it's something that this is like the John Mayer G-Shock. I've spent too much goddamn time thinking about this to not do anything about it.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm losing money and time and just wasting my life not having it. So just fucking do it. So I did it. So it's happening on the 28th, 29th weekend. I'm picking it up, and then we're going to do a show, and
Amazing.
then show it to you. And then I just blew that show, but you can go ahead and blow me.
And then I'll send you your Doxa back as you send this over to me.
Yeah, send me the Doxa and send me the fuck you and tell me how shitty that strap was. Because this strap is going to be good. And I feel like this is going to be like the Moon watch. I'm going to be like, I should get another strap. I should get, because there's a black strap I sent you guys. I like the tan strap that it comes with, but I feel like I'm going to want that croc black strap because I think it would look so good. If you wore this with a tuck or like just a suit, it would look so goddamn good. To your point about the tank, I think if I were more formal and I wore, more suits more often, that would be good. But again, also, my wife always says this is effeminate enough, too much for me.
She thinks that already, eh?
Yeah, but she just thinks I'm effeminate at baseline, so,
Right, yeah, well, we all think that, but...
Pretty much.
You mentioned, like, some of the big boys a minute ago, right? Like, Patek and Audemars, and I think to myself, like, I understand why people like those watches. I don't understand why they value them so highly. I don't see any reason to buy any of those. I don't see a reason to buy a Nautilus. Like, go ahead, buy one if you like it, sure, but there's no reason to fight hand over fist for one. And my preference is the Cartier. I don't care that it's not as expensive. I really don't give a shit. This is an incredible timeless watch that has been talked about for a long time, and it will continue to be a classic watch 100 or 200 years from now. The other ones will also be classics, but I don't understand the value in those watches and the prices people pay for them. If you got them at MSRP, okay, but not after over MSRP.
Yeah, I think you have to have
buy one of these.
Amazing movement to justify precious metal. That's my viewpoint on things. You don't go solid gold G-Shock. You don't go solid gold Seiko. But you do go solid gold when you have an amazing movement inside. I think the outside needs to reflect the inside. That's why I think the Daytona is justified in it. But like anything less, probably, I don't know, it's debatable because I think that you just really need to have a well-rounded watch. To me, this is a cool watch in steel. But we talked about,
very cool.
Would you go all gold? Well, it looks stellar, but I would still think on the inside, the movement, it's an interesting movement. It's cool. It's in-house, but it's a 42-hour power reserve. It's not quite as heralded as an amazing movement as some of the others. And, it's not the Holy Trinity. That would be really the next step on is when you get a Vacheron, a Patek, you get an AP, and even arguably some Rolex models, maybe like the John Mayer, like me, then I think that it's justified. Those are great watches that deserve to be in great metals. To me, this is cool in itself. Stick with steel, maybe go bicolor if that's your deal. No. I super respect people who go precious metal in this, but to me, it just seems imbalanced. I think you need to have something great on the inside and great on the outside, if that's going to be the case.
Let's say you have a collection that's primarily watches made of precious metals. Then you would get this watch in a precious metal to keep your collection on that level, right, of value or expense, or just to be totally balling, right? But if you have a watch collection that has a significant amount of stainless steel, then the stainless steel suits your collection far better. if I was to go for this in a precious metal, I would want it in white gold, because I think that the stainless design is the nicest one. Like, you mentioned the Holy Trinity, like Vacheron, and I love Vacheron. I think they're hugely undervalued at the moment. And I would love to own a Vacheron, but I'm not really interested. Unlike you, I'm not shitting on you in any way here. I'm just not interested in spending that kind of money on those watches or fighting over them to get them. It's not my bag. I buy what I like, and I don't give a shit about whether it's going to lose value or gain value if I buy it because I like it. You know, there's a few things I bought because I know that they'll go up in value and then sold them. But that's not the driver behind my watch collection, and I'm not a flipper. It's not my thing. You know, I help advise people, and I'll talk to you about things. I'll give you my opinion, and I'll listen to what you have to say, but it's just not my bag, baby, you know.
Peter, what's your bag?
So buy that Cartier and love it and move on. You know, it's just amazing.
For sure. Peter,
I'm
too effeminate?
yeah.
Or
No,
just
I think
right
it's
for my
cool.
effeminate wrist?
Yeah, I think it's cool. I've always been like, personally for me, like I've always been driven to the tank. I don't know why. Just the Santos hasn't personally done it for me. Even though it's smaller, I don't know how it would look on my wrist. Maybe I need to try it on and then I'd get a difference of opinion. But
You're a large
yeah,
boy. You'd have to
yeah,
go
It's
that's
beautiful.
like I'd try it on. I'd be like, yeah, the tank's not for me because it would probably look too
Too
tiny.
small.
But, yeah, I don't know. I think it's super cool. Like I've always liked Cartier. I think, like you said, they're super timeless and they kind of have like a special place in the heart. I think it's really cool that you added one to your collection.
Yeah.
About like, yeah, I think like anything too, like you're talking about, like the point of like yeah, you know, buy what you like kind of thing. If it's in the end, I don't think it hurts if something's gonna go down in value, right, or go up in value. Sorry, in the end, you know, if you like it, and I mean it goes up in value, that's fantastic. But yeah, I mean that's kind of what I say about it too. I do find sometimes though value does influence my decisions because I find it's easier to be like, oh, I can buy this, and then if I need to, I can sell it, than to be like something like that. Like, and that's kind of something I kind of think of sometimes. It's like, oh, like if I needed the money and I needed to sell it, well, I could, right? Like that's kind of like it's almost my way of like making it seem better in my mind.
Yeah.
Being like,
No,
oh, like
Yeah.
it's an investment. Like, no, it's like it's like $500 or whatever, right?
Totally.
I mean, but yeah, that's my personal opinion on it, kind of thing. It
It's
almost
nice
just
to always
it
know.
justifies it.
Yeah. It's the security in it, right?
Yeah,
But
exactly.
at the same time, I think this is something that's like, it's something that's timeless and something that needs to be done.
Totally.
Beautiful. Yeah.
If you buy something you like and then the world goes to shit and the entire watch market collapses, you own something you like. If you buy something exclusively as an investment and you don't flip it by the right time and then the watch market collapses, you're stuck with something you don't like that you want to sell that you can't.
Yeah.
So like, even if you're buying a watch as an investment piece, part of what I would consider is buying something you actually like as a part of the factor in purchasing that investment piece. Otherwise, assume you're going to lose money. You buy coffee. I buy coffee every single day because I see the value in spending that money and enjoying the coffee and then not having that money anymore. I'm not reselling it after I enjoy it. You know, like that would be great if I could do that, but you can't. So try and find pleasure in things. If you make money, that's great. If you don't, that's fine. You have a beautiful Cartier, move on and enjoy it, right?
Well, my view is, you know, there's it's the same on cars and watches. There's a few that you buy to hold on to forever, for a lifetime, or for a long term, or to pass on. And then there's a few that you buy to enjoy for a time, to have an experience and then let it go. And I think that goes to Peter's point that you buy it, you enjoy it, and you let it go. As long as you don't lose your shirt, you're good. You're ahead. I can't think of too many that I would feel major remorse afterwards if I got stuck with. Maybe the primary one might be the Datejust. So that's why I've vacillated, but the market has gone down. But the nice thing is that I've never paid over MSRP. So yeah, I'm ahead anyways. Nothing's going under right now. Maybe a little bit, but we'll see.
Well, there's a big difference between a theoretical loss and a real loss. So you buy it at MSRP, say it goes up 100%, you don't sell it, then it drops to only going up to 80%. Like, oh, I lost money because I didn't sell it at 100%. You know, the reality is you still made a significant amount of money. And even if it continues to go down, now you know the direction of the market. As long as you bought them at the right price, you haven't actually lost any money. You just lost theoretical money.
And then
So
you got the experience out of it. And that's
you've learned.
priceless.
Yep.
Because like you don't want to learn with these kinds of expenses. Learn something else first and then move on to the big price pieces, right? Like, I'm not there. Steve didn't used to be there. Steve has experience with lots of things like Subarus and Mitsubishis and Hondas before moving on to Ferraris and Porsches. So don't jump into the deep end and try and buy a Rolex and flip it, because you might get burnt if you buy at the wrong time and over MSRP.
Right. And I started with the Victorinox, and then I passed that on and you got fucked. Sorry about that.
I will never get rid of that watch. You know, there's a few guys I follow on YouTube and Instagram. I'm not going to mention their names, but like one of the guys, super rich, you know, I don't know him personally, obviously. And, you know, he's got these watches that are old, that are basically like a Victorinox. He's never going to sell them because he likes them and they mean something to him. It's like, not everything is about making money. Sometimes things are about enjoying life and finding meaning in things, you know. So this Victorinox from my Zadie, it's not going anywhere unless one of my brothers one day says, you know what, do you think I could have that watch? Like, yeah, I've had it for a long time, I've enjoyed it, and now I'm passing it on to someone who wants it as well.
Yeah.
And I'll be fine. I'll have a different watch from my Zadie that I can enjoy. I'm just lucky none of the grandkids were interested in watches, basically. So, but yeah, listen to Steve, follow his advice. Carsiglieri out.
Yeah.
Words to live by. With that,
Words to live
let's
by.
call it a night. And next time we'll have some reveals.
Yeah. Thank you guys for a great chat. And
Yeah, it
thank
was
you,
fun.
Peter, for your
Always
opinions, which helped me come to some revelations. Thank you.
Of course, I'm glad I could help.
Absolutely.
All right. Next time we'll be barebacking. Cartier style.
Good night, everybody.
Good one. Night.